Pete Brady with Alpha Roofing. Today we're going to discuss all the things that we can find on a roof. Hail is one of them, but there's also a lot of other damages that can occur to a roof. I know a lot of roofers, when they get up on a roof, their job is to inspect the roof. And so we need to tell you as a homeowner what we're finding. And not everything is hail. Some of the damages occur from other things. And so we're going to discuss those other things right now. So one of the things that we do find up on a roof, every roof once it gets installed, obviously we've got our crews up there and they're using tools and whatnot. This right here is an example of a tool mark. It's in a straight line. Essentially, if this was hail, obviously we wouldn't have a streak. This is a lot of times guys carrying their tools that scratch along the surface of the shingles. A lot of times guys are cutting shingles as well up on the roof, and their knives go underneath and their actual knife creates that gash. So we want to make sure that any cuts happen with something protective underneath it or on the ground beforehand. So that's a little bit of due diligence there. Another item that we find a lot on roofs are nail pops. And so nail pops, this is actually an extreme case of it. The nail has completely popped out of the shingle. Typically what we do see though, if we pop this nail out, is we'll just see an impact right here. It looks like hail, feels like hail because it's deep. But if you look at it, lots of times when we pull the shingle up, we see the nail underneath. Typically the nail is flush with the next shingle, and that indicates that that damage was not caused by something coming from the top in and creating a divot like a hailstone would, but a nail popping from the outside. And again, this is an extreme case where the nail's popped all the way through, but it kind of shows what we're talking about. Another thing that we find a lot in Texas is heat blisters. Now, heat blisters are the opposite of a hail impact. Hail comes from the top, hits the shingle down, creates a divot. A lot like an asteroid, when it hits the ground, creates a crater. Essentially what a blister does is the opposite. It heats because of the attic being so hot. That's why it's important to ventilate the roof. The heat essentially creates a situation where the shingles get so hot from underneath, they blister and heat up. Just like when you're boiling water and that little bubble pops up to the top. And what that looks like is this. And this is how we can tell that that's a blister and this is not from hail. Again, the pattern is pretty consistent, but also when I touch that, I can feel that the actual shingles are raising up. In other words, they've been pushed up and out of the shingle as opposed to driven into the shingle. There's no embedded granules at all. It's flush, and again, it's hard and stiff. It's not consistent with hail. What a hail impact looks like, again, an example of what hail looks like is this. So it's circular in nature, consistent with the pattern of a circular hailstone. Obviously, hailstones aren't perfect circles. They've got jagged edges. And when I feel that with my thumb, again, I'm feeling that there's a bruise like the back of my hand. Also, we can see that there's embedded granules inside of that shingle. So again, this roof has examples of all types of damages that we can find. Again, it's important to have a qualified roofer that has experience and can tell the difference. And so when we do recommend to file a claim, you know that it's from an actual covered peril like hail or wind, and it's actually something that is worth calling your insurance company out to take a look at. Again, being able to identify what hail is and what all the other types of damages up on a roof are essential to making sure that we can recommend the proper course of action.